Moving from the bedroom to playing out in public can be stressful for any DJ, and one of the most important aspects to any set is being able to hear what you're playing for your audience correctly. Now, the way the speakers are set up in a club or lounge environment can be very different than what you may be used to in your bedroom. So, in this video, we'll go over the reason for booth monitors, which are going to be your #1 friend when playing out in public to make sure your DJing is sounding its best. Now, if you're interested in more tips and tricks videos just like this one, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Now let's get into why booth monitors are so important and how to set them up correctly. Most DJs only have one set of speakers set up at home, normally facing them. And in a bar or club environment, this is usually not the case. The speakers connected to the main output of your controller or mixer are usually facing away from the DJ and towards the crowd. They can also be much further away from the DJ booth than what you might be used to at home. Now, although the volume may be much louder than what you're used to, it can sound much worse. And this is because the speakers aren't pointing at you, and the audio can also be delayed since the speakers are further away. Now trust us, as soon as the speakers aren't as close to you as you're used to, this can become a real problem. Now this means less enjoyment from your set, and more difficulty beat mixing thanks to the delay between your headphones and the sound reaching the floor from your speakers. Not good for any DJ, novice or experienced. Now, booth monitors solve this issue. They are the second set of speakers connected to the booth output of your mixer or controller and close to the DJ, facing the DJ as well. The booth monitors also have a separate volume control, so a DJ can control the volume of the speakers he or she is listening to without affecting the volume of what the audience is listening to. Now let's take a trip to one of the DJ booths that I frequent so I can show you how I set up my booth monitors and show you exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so I'm here at my normal weekend residency here in Las Vegas, and I'm actually in the DJ booth right now, as you can see the setup right there. And I just wanted to talk to you guys about how and why you would want to use booth monitors. So, as I mentioned, we have the DJ setup right here. Normal CDJ setup, Pioneer setup, and then to either side we have booth monitors, and those are pointed towards the DJ, meaning myself, and those are so that I can listen to what I'm playing, because the actual main output speakers are actually in front of the DJ booth, which is normally the case in a lot of live situations, and are pointed towards the dance floor, which totally makes sense. And the reason that you really need booth monitors is because the sound coming out of the main outputs has a delay to it, because since it's facing away from you, the sound is actually traveling in that direction away from your ear and then kind of bouncing around, and then you hear what comes back, also known as reflections. So let me give you an example of what the main outputs sound like from inside the DJ booth. Not sure how well this will translate on this video, but it'll give you an idea. So here's the main outputs. Now, as you can hear, it doesn't sound as direct as it usually would if the speakers were facing towards you. So now let me turn on the booth monitors so you can hear the difference. Now that sounds way more direct and way more like what you're used to when playing in your bedroom. So the booth monitors give a much better representation of what the crowd is hearing in a live situation, and it's why they're so important. Now, to talk about how to use them properly, well, since you have your headphones on at the same time as the booth monitor, you'll actually be going up and down with the actual booth monitor volume. So let's take a look at the mixer here. And right here on the Pioneer 900, we have a booth monitor volume control, which is completely separate from the master volume control. And that's really important because you want to be able to change the way that the booth monitors sound volume-wise without affecting what the crowd hears. You want them to have a more consistent volume. So we'll use the booth monitor volume to kind of adjust while we're mixing in the next song. We'll turn it up a little bit more so you can hear what the crowd's hearing while queuing up the next song in your headphones. Then, if you don't need that extra volume, it's recommended that you turn the booth monitor down. Just use your headphones for queuing up the next song, kind of getting the next mix ready, while the crowd's still hearing everything they would normally hear out of the main output without having to adjust that volume at all. So handy. It's so important to be able to hear exactly what your crowd's hearing in a live setting especially, and you don't want to affect their volume and what they've been listening to. So using booth monitors like this, over there, and one over there, is so helpful. And in some situations you won't get two. A lot of times you'll only have one booth monitor, and that's fine as well. Now again, you'll still want to adjust the volumes for that, and you want to get used to having it on either side. So I suggest practicing at home, moving your speakers around, and just getting used to monitoring on each side. It makes a world of difference, and it makes you much more prepared in a live situation when you get there. There's a good chance that venues that have DJs on a consistent basis will have booth monitors set up. Although this may be the case for a lot of venues, there's still plenty of venues out there that will only have main output speakers set up. And as a DJ that takes your craft seriously, you should prepare for this type of situation. Now, it's a good idea to learn how to mix only using your headphones. So turn off your speakers at home and just use your headphones to record yourself doing a quick 15 to 30 minute mix. Use the Master Cue function on your DJ system or the Master Cue mix knob to hear what's coming out of the main output in your headphones, as well as the next track that you're queuing up, much like you would when you're using booth monitors. Now, some DJs also like to use what's called the split cue button, if it's there, to split the cue and master audio to one ear cup each. Now, however you do it, after practicing, listen back to what you've recorded to see how clean your mixes were and figure out where and how you can improve. Now, practicing like this will help you prepare for when you don't have booth monitors, and especially for such circumstances where, due to the positioning of the speakers, what you're hearing out of the main speakers maybe is too delayed or muffled, and it's not easy to mix. Practicing for these situations will prepare you for what you may encounter in any DJ booth. Now remember, learning to use booth monitors is so important when you make the jump from the bedroom to playing for a crowd. They are one of the most important tools to make sure your mixes sound great for the audience you're playing for, and are a rite of passage from moving from the bedroom to the DJ booth. So next time you get the chance, you should start practicing using them correctly. Now we'd like to hand it off to you. How do you use booth monitors when you play out live? Go ahead and leave that down in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. And as always, if you enjoyed tips and tricks videos just like this one, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Now, get good, get out there, and make the moments.